Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. OpTic Texas have finally dropped Kenny after a pretty shambolic performance throughout stage 2 of Black Ops 6 CDL. The gameplay we're going to be looking at in particular today is this one here. We're going to be getting into why I'm looking at this one in just a second. The main focus of today is going to be on whether or not OpTic dropping Kenny is enough to bring them more dubs, whether Skies is a good enough replacement for Kenny to enable more wins for OpTic Texas, or whether or not there's going to be more changes required in order for them to be really successful going into the rest of this season. As I say, we're going to be looking at this Vault control gameplay where they drop, where they get beaten by LA Thieves 3-0, and we do that for two reasons. We're looking at this gameplay for two reasons. First of all, Kenny went 3-16, a 0.2 KD with no more than 868 damage, a really, really poor performance from the guy. And we're going to be looking at whether or not he is completely to blame for that performance or whether or not that's the sole reason why OpTic Texas lost. But I'm also looking at this gameplay because Thieves are a very, very good control team, if not the best control team actually so far this year. And hopefully looking at OpTic Texas play a really, really good LA Thieves team on a really good LA Thieves map, we're going to see every single mistake from OpTic Texas be capitalized on by LA Thieves. So it's going to be really, hopefully, quite apparent when we're looking at today's gameplay. For those of you who aren't necessarily followers of the CDL and just here to learn ranked and looking to improve on ranked, obviously, this video can still be helpful. As I say, we're going to be looking at a Vault control gameplay, and there's going to be a lot of things you can use from LA Thieves' perspective to hopefully enable your team's better chance at winning when you load into ranked play. Maybe there's certain routes they're taking, maybe there's certain tactics they're using that you can implement into your own game to have somewhat similar success as LA Thieves. Before we get too much into this gameplay in particular, I just want to take a look at the stats on Kenny compared to the rest of his teammates so far this year. We're going to start off at hardpoint, and there's no statistic where Kenny is better off here, realistically. Lowest KD pretty much, lowest kills per 10 minutes. Damage per 10 minutes also lacks quite considerably. The only thing that he has been pretty good at of recent times is objective time per 10 minutes, getting 56, 57 seconds, but that's no more than Dashi, who seems to be performing relatively acceptably. Moving into S&D, Kenny, interestingly here, Pred has the lowest KD in S&D since he joined in replacement of Hook. At this point as well, Kenny also shares a similar first blood percentage with Pred, where they seem to be dying to first bloods rather than getting first bloods a similar rate, whereas Hook was managing to get slightly better performance out of it than Pred was able to. Then moving on to plants, diffusers, and then maps, you can quite easily see here that Hook was the guy to be planting bombs back in the time when Hook was part of the team. Got 24 plants out of 17 maps, whereas Pred, the direct replacement, seems to be lacking in that category, at least compared to Hook. So worst performing player in OpTic for S&D, you could argue, was Pred, and I think that's partly due to the fact he has been out of it for a little while. He was in Australia, and coming back, you've got S&D is one of the harder things to pick up and play a little bit more structured. But yes, Kenny, still not a great performance. A first blood percentage of 33% isn't great, and a KD of 0.74 obviously leaves a lot to be desired. But Pred for Hook obviously hasn't helped the situation either, and it could be a fairly acceptable reason why they've gotten worse at S&D since that change. Moving into control, this is where Kenny stands out just a tad. So interestingly here, Kenny does have the lowest KD, shock. He does have the lowest kills per 10 minutes, shock. But then surprisingly, his damage seems to be really bloody good. Outside of Dashi, he has the highest damage per 10 minutes on control, meaning the engagements and the speed at which he's willing to play is really, really good. But it's control. You say one control in a regular 5-map series, not the best thing really, is it? But still, worst KD, it means he's not transferring the damage and the engagements through to actual kills, resulting in a really poor KD. So yeah, let's take a look at the gameplay and see what else we can find from this. I'm just going to turn down the CDL music slightly and see what we can find in the gameplay. So first of all, you can see here quite clearly, LA Thieves' track record on this map is 9-0. They're the first in the CDL. They're on a 10-win streak. Obviously, that's including stage 1 as well. Whereas on the upside of that, you've literally got the worst team on Control Vault for this stage as well. So we are literally comparing the best with the worst here. And as I say, the reason I've chosen this gameplay is because, one, Kenny drops a stinking KD, and secondly, because we're going to hopefully see mistakes even more obviously in this gameplay.
Thieves, OpTic, here we go. What used to be an incredibly exciting...
So you see a pretty standard break off for OpTic. Dangerous push from this side. As you guys know, you can throw a nade from the statue all the way through to this region, pretty much landing grenades exactly where Kenny is. Thankfully, only one of OpTic Texas are that way, but you can see they're pretty spread among the map. There's no real directions to where they're going. So almost a default push. If you're playing ranked, you'd expect a similar push like this. You've got a little bit of emphasis towards catwalk. You've got a little bit of emphasis towards pool. Kenny's control in the middle, almost being the main point of interest for Thieves. And then player number 8 is sat holding the B lane. So player number 8, Dashy, 7 Pred, 6 Shotzzy, and 5 Kenny. Meanwhile, you've got the entire LA Thieves team completely bang out the objective. So let's see how this initial play plays out.
Still be that, as anything can happen still here in the BO6 season. Far from over, folks. Approaching the A zone, though. Kenny is not going to check.
So something that's quite interesting there, Kenny's managed to bait for Dashy. But you could see the setup. If we just rewind this a mere 5 seconds, you can see right here, right now, Thieves have got absolute control of the map. You know, OpTic Texas have managed to take almost no map control. They've got map control towards pool, but how is that useful when there's B all the way over here and A is here? I imagine they might want to get into the spawn and try and spawn trap, but at the moment, they've allowed Thieves, because they've had such a passive push up to this objective, they've allowed, with Kenny being the only person showing presence at this point, they've allowed Thieves to get so much map control towards A, and even though Brandon, player number 8 Dashy, saw nobody at B, they've insisted to go A anyway. So interesting play there, but let's see how the rest of this plays out. Kenny dives in first in a hope to get the objective, so obviously he's baiting for his teammate. Thankfully that bait pays off because he manages to get traded by Dashy. Ghosty manages to get the kill, Shotzzy gets a kill, and then that's 4 down just like that. So let's see how that plays out. Let's take a look at the mirror and see what exactly happens at every stage there. So first of all, you've got Kenny baiting in. Baits in, Hydra kills Kenny. Dashy gets the trade, as you would expect. And because of how long they're taking to pinch, this, you can see the interest on player 1 and number 4. You can see Scrap and Ghosty both turn their attention towards the flank. And the reason for that is, if I quickly go towards, you can see, I'm not going to change screen, sorry. You can see player number 3 in Envoy's got this whole B lane cut across. You've then got player number 2 in Hydra, making sure they can't come through middle. And because how much, if we think how much time has passed, if I rewind a couple of steps, if we think how much time has passed, they're in middle, they're picking up the left, they're not seeing anything. They're not seeing anything. They're not seeing anything. They're not seeing anything. It takes them so long to push around this way. Envoy knows they're not coming B Street. Hydra knows he's got people to deal with here. These players are automatically looking for the flank. They're playing against Shotzzy. They know his mannerism. Albeit, this is Pred, this is Shotzzy, but they're going to be looking for a flank. And because of how long it took them to push around this left, I get it, they did it quite quickly. It's a very, very predictable play. In any case, Hydra kills Kenny. Dashy manages to get the trade. Ghosty manages to find the kill upon Pred there. Pred shoots second. Ghosty shoots first. I imagine Ghosty was in a position online where it was a really good head glitch, so he won that gunfight. But then players 3 and 4, knowing exactly where player number 8 and 6 are, start to progress towards the kills. Scrap ends up trying to get kill Dashy. Shotzzy then dives out of middle. Instead of preserving their life, this is the crazy bit. Shotzzy decides to just jump out of catwalk, straight onto the hill, into the lion's den, where there's literally 3 Thieves players still alive, and dies, causing a 4 wipe. Now, I understand the importance of trades. Obviously, he's a pro player. He knows this himself. You want to trade your teammates out so that you've got as much aggression up the map as possible. The hope is then to allow your players off of spawn to get through. But was that the right play? Knowing there's 3 Thieves players alive, they're all around the middle area because they've all just shots. They're on the radar. Is it then not worth playing your life a little bit, trying to get into the spawn, playing for the spawner perhaps, something a little bit different like that? But what we've got here is 2 of Thieves players sat middle of the map quite happily. The whole Kenny baiting in initially, losing that first gunfight because at the end of the day, they took so long to engage. Dashy gets traded out. Pred gets caught off guard, flanking. Yeah, 2 kills there, 2 deaths there without a trade. And then we're left in this situation where OpTic starts spawning out. That's all down to Pred going in first with an AR, by the way. He's pushing through a real close line of sight there throughout middle with an AR. Gets gunned by Hydra because he has a sub, and Kenny wasn't aware of it. They were so slow to that push. And it was a shit show from then, if I'm going to be frank. You've then got Envoy, who's just pushing up quite really, really far. And you can see Envoy's position here has allowed OpTic Texas to spawn at P2.
Some machine gun in hand. Pred now backing him up as well, Jay, and nice start there from the Thieves.
Yeah, break off OpTic Texas last week when they played Vault weren't the best. They went 4 dead every single time. At least you do find a couple kills early on, and it makes your approach out of spawn a little bit easier, but you still...
And it's not like they're playing as a team. If we look at the minimap and see how separately they're playing right now, I'm going to rewind this back a second. So this is just after Shotzi gets traded out. You've got Kenny spawning in as the first person, decides to run out by himself without support of his team. I imagine the reason for that is to try and make ground. Loses this 1v1 gunfight. I'm going to zoom out just so we can see the gunfight take place.
The Thieves come up. We go, and that is going to be everyone on point, and what a melee fiesta that was. The Thieves come up.
Kenny just loses that gunfight. Envoy manages to get the kill somehow, but that's fine. A gunfight lost, a 1-on-1 gunfight lost.
On top. Kenny desperately trying to back.
You've then got Pred looking for the trade, while you've got Shotzi and Dashi just coming off P2 spawn. And at this point, you can see how well Thieves are set up. They've got these initial kills. They know Envoy's pushed left, and they can see Hydra's taking the position of top nest, and knowing that OpTic would have spawned P2, just trying to get some real good pressure up there. They're instantly spread across the map, so that's something to take for those of you looking to improve. Managed to get the first blood, again gets traded out quite easily. You've got Pred there getting a kill at number 4, and instead of trying to drive through this pressure, they know they've just killed Hydra Nest. They know they've just killed a play middle. They know Envoy's on the right. There's 3 of them here, and okay, what do they know? Okay, they know Hydra's dead here. They know Envoy's here. Why are 3 of them so focused on this? I know they're not completely focused, but number 7 here in Pred, where's the speed? Where's the speed? Kenny decides to go for the objective, knowing how little time is left. Ends up getting killed by Scrap. Meanwhile, Pred is just looking for this kill back Palace or back Gold. Manages to get the kill. Grand. So they're playing a different game. So what I'm seeing here is Kenny's going for the objective by himself, which again I don't think is a good idea, obviously. But whilst they're doing that, Pred's trying to look for the kill, even though Pred was in a position to get the objective first. Kenny dies doing so. That's just another death without a trade. They're not doing the same thing. There's no cohesion there. Meanwhile, all that's happening. Dashy's coming off spawn. Shots is trying to be annoying through catwalk. There's no cohesion. They're not playing together. They could have easily said, leave Envoy, jump on the objective. And I can't hear the comms. I don't know what's happening. But that should have been a quite simple thing to try and manufacture. So either all focus on that guy and guarantee that kill, or play your life until we get that kill, or all go for the objective. All work towards the same goal. They don't seem to be working towards the same goal in that respect.
Take care of it. But 40 seconds to go, you gotta get yourself in towards A, earn some segments.
Yeah, lifetime isn't bad.
So yeah, they're losing gunfights at the end of the day. They're in a position where someone's just died P3, someone's died cat step, someone's died P1. We've just seen Pred die there. Really, really not great. And we're just going to be taking a look at what Kenny's position there. He'd have run through middle, trying to get to a point to B. What Kenny seems to be doing after every single death is just trying to run to an objective. He can sense the fact that they're losing on lives. There's 30 seconds left on the objective. Kenny is trying to get to the objective, and he's just being caught off guard by doing so. So he either needs to wait for his team and push as a team, or win the gunfights to get him to the objective. He's running blindly to B. He ran blindly to A and got caught by Scrap. Alone, both times, without anybody there for trade him. Thankfully, Shotzi was there to help out Kenny at that point. And this is where we should be progressing towards the objective. Hydra cuts that real obvious cut off there. You've then got, look how much map control Thieves have managed to take up. And the fact that player in Ghosty is pushed up to P2 is forcing OpTic to spawn all the way back left here. And what that does is allow the rest of Thieves to really isolate their players. You can see how focused Hydra is to this right-hand side, or this left-hand side, because he knows Ghosty sat in P2. So Hydra's set himself in a real fortunate position there. Playing well, playing their life. Kenny managed to get a kill. And again, you've got Shotzi pushing through. Kenny's miles behind, pushes the objective to the catwalk, managed to get the second kill. That's 2 kills, by the way, out of the 3 he gets in the total map. Everyone's pushing out. There's almost no cohesion whatsoever. It's not like they're communicating towards the same objective. They're all doing their own different thing, and it's really it's costed them that round. So that's an offense. Offense is a little bit harder to win. Let's see how their defense goes, which should be easier. Okay, so Thieves have gone for a direct approach towards B, which is quite an interesting one here. You can see Dashy's managed to take the point of view of B, looking down the lane, trying to get some info. 3 of OpTic have managed to hit A. And then what you have is Dashy's communicated clearly that there's going to be 3 people on LA Thieves squad pushing the objective. He's communicated, I don't know if he said they're all here or there's 3 here, but all 4 of the OpTic teams seem to be progressing towards this side. They don't know there's 3 here, otherwise one would be accountable for Hydra. The fact that they don't know Hydra's left yet means they've got their back to Hydra. Okay, so they don't know there's. I think they're assuming there's 4 in this position, but they've Shotzi and Kenny have dragged back to help Brandon out towards top or side art. And then you've got Pred trying to watch the cross from double doors. So Ghosty managed to get the first kill on Pred. Dashy goes huge side art, getting a double kill. Unfortunately, you have Hydra shoot Kenny in the back because nobody was accounting for Hydra pinching. You then have Shotzi trading, and it's not bad. The only problem is now you've got Scrap trying to progress through, gets map control, but then does get gunned by Pred. So now we're in a fairly decent position, and whilst that's all happened, Shotzi's managed to get all the way through towards A, and is playing a credit corner, trying to get that map control. So it could be worse. So far, so good. A little bit of a saviour from Dashy there, to be honest. Ooh, okay. So somehow, just looking here, somehow Hydra seems to get across. So this is a complete mix-up. If you look what's happening here, at all points here, you've got 7 watching B lane, you've got 6 watching middle. Between Kenny, who's number 5, and Dashy, number 8, one needs to be picking up cat, while one watches the right-hand side. Then you've got the whole map covered. What happens here is bizarre. As Hydra starts to progress towards this catwalk, Dashy leaves catwalk push, causing Kenny to have to turn. And as he turns and gets into position, Hydra gets that perfect timing on Kenny, slides down, shoots, gets team shot actually, I think, because Ghosty, this player, shot him as well. Team shoots Dashy, kills Kenny on the mid flow. But that all comes from the fact that no one was accounting for that. I don't know if the comms are slow or whatever. Someone here needs to be accounting for the fact that cat's completely open. Kenny obviously recognizes it's open. He goes to switch to Dashy. I'm not sure what exchange happened there, but there seems to be, again, that lack of cohesion, that lack of coordination across the team. Shotzi then decides to try and flank and help out. I think he then gets caught by player number 1. But that sort of thing doesn't happen, and that's what, yeah. And now we're left. Now Shotzi and Pred just die, and the reason they die, if we take a look at the minimap, you've got Ghosty managed to find Shotzi top cat, eventually dies to the gunfight. I think that's because Ghosty had an AR. Shotzi lost that gunfight. Even though he knew Ghosty was there, again, there was Ghosty on the minimap. They didn't know Shotzi. I guess they knew Shotzi was there from player number 1, but they both knew each other were in that vicinity. That should have been a fairly even gunfight, and just Shotzi lost that one. You then have player in Pred just getting outmanned there, and that's why they fall. And now you're in a position where you've got 4 of these players, and it all comes from that catwalk, allowing Hydra to run through that cat. Whether it's Ken or Dashy, I don't know, but one of them needs to be owning that. One of them needs to be owning that. And at the point where Hydra pushes, it switches between Dashy and Kenny owning that, and it allows Hydra 3. He's timed it almost perfectly, and it's just opened the whole map up completely. But it all comes from that tiny little play, that tiny little error in OpTic, not having the coordination and who's watching what, and yeah.
Yeah, might be the case. Bad news though.
And this is interesting. This is a really good play from Hydra. He senses a gap and just pushes through. Now, let's look. If we rewind this, let's have a look and see how long was left at A at the time that they decided. So they go 4 down. There's a couple of people on the tick, so at this point, the pros should know that because of how slow this is progression so far, they know there's not 4 on it. Do you just chalk this? Do you not just set up for B and allow them to get this tick? Your lives are fairly even. They're only going to have a minute and 40, a minute 50 probably, so it's quite a lot. But what they do here is they challenge so late. You should be reading someone in lights here because the tick isn't showing 4 people. There's not 4 people on it, otherwise it'd be captured already. Does Pred not read this corner or a corner here? Does he not stun nade it? Do something like that? I mean, he did stun nade this right side, but in any case, I don't think OpTic should have pushed. You've got Kenny going all the way around the back. You've got Dashy hitting the side door. You've got Shotzi hitting the catwalk. Hydra gets this kill, doesn't get challenged, and then just pushes through. He knows you've got 2 players off the spawn. Kenny somehow decides to pinch instead of just setting up for the trap at B. And OpTic Techs have just made the wrong call. Whatever the play call was to just go for A there and stop the capture is insane. You can see the amount of map control it's simply given Thieves there. They've capitalized on that. Playing a worse team like LAG, that may not have happened. They may have just stuck there, but the fact that Hydra's here is now really difficult. And what they're able to do, because they had no map control and they're coming from bottom P4, Thieves are able to transition the A to B push really easy. They've got a player watching the pack, they've got a player sat in art, and they've got the rogue players just sort of coming off spawn or whatever, player number 1. But this isn't a great setup for OpTic. They do have map control, to be fair, but they should have just chalked A there. There was not the right play call whatsoever. Whoever's making that call to attack A there, it should have been done better. You should have been able to guarantee kills. If you're challenging a point of, and this just comes down to fundamentals, when you're challenging an objective like a control, and there's so little time left, whether it's a hard point and there's like 5 seconds left, do you not just play for exit kills? Do you not just play for guarantees? Sit on this line heady, just wait for them to push through. Sit on the god truck looking at double doors, just play for the cuts and then progress up the map. You don't need to force the stop. There's no reason to do that. Dashy managed to get a blood, but whilst Hydra's alive, OpTic Techs are spawning in P4, and it's just going to be a nightmare for them to get this objective. So he's managing to hop out, show himself. Pred managed to get that kill. Kenny gets beamed from up top, and it's just, yeah. That round was lost as soon as they went for A rather than B at the beginning, towards the middle of the round.
This might be the fastest game of control we've ever seen in our entire...
So the break off from Thieves looks fairly similar. You've got 2 people pushed towards middle. Instead of pushing all 4 middle, you've got 2 people pushing cat, 2 people pushing middle. OpTic Techs have decided to just bang out A here, so let's see how that progresses. Good first blood from Shotzi. Dashy manages to get 2 kills, one of which being his teammate. But even though they got the first blood, that's now 4 down. Even though there's three whites in the kill feed, that's 4 OpTic Techs teams down because of the kill, because of the team kill. Not entirely sure how that happened. It's because Dashy and Pred were just, Kenny were just stood right in front of each other there. That's just, yeah, both playing the same heady. It's unfortunate. But that is an instant 4 down. Let's see what else happens on the minimap here. Let's just see who else loses gunfights to who. So Shotzi gets the first blood. You've got player 5, 7, 8 backing them. Player number 3 managed to get the trade. Player number 7 gets that trade. Now you're in a position where it's a 2v2. Hydra just jumps down from catwalk. And I find it baffling how nobody's watching cat at this point. They're on the objective. I know it's frantic, but yeah.
Lord, they're all dead, and that's straight back to spawn.
And now you can see just how quickly Thieves get that map control. You already have Hydra pushed towards gold. You already have Ghosty pushed up towards P2. This is just, yeah.
Here comes Hydra.
They're really capitalizing on that map control. Hydra getting some really good kills here. 1v1 versus Shotzi and Hydra.
Thank God he read that.
Shotzi gets the kill. But you can see, look how split they are coming off spawn now. OpTic, by the way. There's no trade allowance here. There's no, if Shotzi dies here, who's there to trade him? Okay, perhaps Pred. You then have Kenny going on out alone here. Dash is just coming off spawn. This is a huge 2-piece. At this point, they know Ghost is or someone's on the right hand side here because they're spawning towards gold, so they know that they've got someone around P2 pool area. They've just got map control towards B. This should be really, really good. Let's just see what happens. So Shotzzy gets traded out by Scrap. Pred decides to push through, get the kill. Good pressure. Kenny's on the objective trying to stop the time and capture the time. Big kill from Dashi there. This should be the point captured. So this is a good setup. If we just pause this right here, you have Shotzzy catwalk, you have Dashi, you have Pred and Kenny both on the objective looking towards lights, and you have Dashi watching the right hand side and double door push. Good setup. Let's see how this is a shocker, by the way. So Shotzzy's completely given up catwalk for some reason. Obviously went to challenge play number 2. Completely given up catwalk. Played his life fairly well there. But in playing his life, he's dipped out the catwalk here. You can see that he's no longer looking over it because of how far back they are. Play number 2 in Hydra managed to sneak across. Hydra then jumps down. So Shotzzy first misses that cross. He only puts him to 99 HP if we take a quick look here. Shotzzy manages to get a bullet in him, but it takes him down to 99 HP. Hydra then drops down. And he's got 2 free kills here. Now, he gets these 2 kills, but at what point does Shotzzy call out that there's someone pinching catwalk, and why does not one of these turn around? What on earth is going on there? Let's watch that full speed just so we can see what happens again. So Shotzzy gives it up, gets the stun, jumps over, gets a free 2-piece. Shotzzy comes to trade, gets traded himself. Shocker. Arguably, I'm not defending Kenny here, but I am in a way. Shotzzy lets him through. Kenny's laying down at this point. There should be some communication. Hydra jumped catch, Hydra, something like that. Shotzzy saw him push, managed to get or try to shoot them. Kenny gets through. Hydra gets through. Pred should be the one to turn around here because Kenny's laying down. There's a mismatch of comms here. Something isn't. There's no gel in the team. There's no communication. If there is communication, it's not being heard. Fundamentally, there's something wrong with the knit of this team, and this Hydra just leaking through twice like this is just unforgivable. That should have been an easy round to win. Shotzzy owns the catwalk, gets a kill. If he gets traded, he gets traded. He needs to get a kill. The fact that he plays his life, backs up a little bit, allows Hydra to get through, either comms it and Pred doesn't listen, or he doesn't comm it, it's on Shotzzy's fault. So either way, Kenny's just been shot in the back there. Pred's been shot in the back there. Whether it's on Shotzzy or Pred, I'm not sure. One of them needs to be accountable for it. You also have Dashi who could have maybe helped out, and Kenny could have turned around at the end of the day. Not a good showing. Not a good showing. And that just snowballs into a shocker finish for OpTic. But yeah, you can see how much pressure they're applying. Envoy gets a couple of bullets in, plays his life really well there, knowing his team's just close to back up. Does get picked up by Pred. And again, you've just got, if you take a look at the map, look at this setup. You've got Scrap on the left, even though Envoy's just died pushing out, putting a lot of pressure on, by the way. That was a good push from Envoy. You've got the whole map covered. You've got Ghosty watching the right-hand side here. You've got Scrap watching the left. You've got Hydra watching the middle. They can't get through. And that's only with 3 of them. So that's just a really, really good example of how they've capitalized on this, and they've just spread out, covered all areas, and they're obviously communicating effectively as a team to make sure everything is covered.
Trying to make his way out towards the zone. You've got 1 segment left to A. OpTic,
again, Scrap manages to play his life. Hydra gets a kill on Kenny there. Should Hydra have got that kill? Just going to record this back a couple of times.
Trying to make his way out towards the zone. You've got 1 segment left to A.
I'm just looking here. Ghosty's clearly playing his life really well on these palm trees. He's got the interest of both Kenny and Shotzzy here, whilst Dashi actually could probably get through to B at this point. Actually, he's probably got a free room to B here. Pred's just off the hill. Kenny gets shot in the back. Player number 6 is a little bit weak after having a gunfight with Ghosty. Decides to pinch round. Dashi just comes into double doors. He probably doesn't know there's no one watching B, but yeah, he just comes to help the team through double doors, gets picked off, and it's another wave of Thieves winning gunfights. And again, you just pause this at any point. Thieves have got every area covered. It's insane. And the thing that OpTic are doing wrong here, look how separate they are. They're not waiting for each other off spawn. They're running left, running middle, running right. There's no cohesion. There's no coordination in what OpTic are trying to do out of spawn. The round's probably already over, but it's definitely over if they're just hoping for one-on-one gunfights as they push out, single by single by single. You do that on ranked play, you're getting absolutely obliterated. And these are getting absolutely obliterated. Wait as a team, whether you sit in gold, waiting for the team, whether you sit in the spawn and you decide to push around left as a team, maybe go through pool, vault, whatever. Work as a team, work as one unit, push through the trades. OpTic haven't done that very well.
13, no more OpTic players are currently alive, and that is going to be the series, Ross.
That is wraps. That's it, folks. You pack it up. You throw in the towel. One last chance here. Pred was it to touch that zone. Wait. Last attempt. Envoy lines them up, knocks them down. Game.
Yeah. Not ideal. Not ideal. Not ideal. So, was Kenny the reason for OpTic's loss here? Probably. Will Skies fill a better gap and perform better than Kenny? Probably. Do I think it's enough for OpTic to succeed? If Skies brings a completely different culture to the team, then yes, there is something fundamentally wrong with how this team fits. You've seen multiple examples in the gameplay I've just covered where there's either a lack of comms, there's a lack of strategy, and there's just something fundamentally going wrong, at least for this example. And I'm sure that then translates to poor performance across S&D, across hard points, no matter what map mode it is. And that would explain why they're losing 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, unless they're playing Falcons or Gentlemates. But yeah, obviously let me know your thoughts down below, of course. I want to hear your opinions on the matter. Is Skies a good fit for the team? Do you think it's going to be that much of a change? Or do you think OpTic Texas are going to just become 2% better? That'll do for me. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.